At a union office in Los Angeles County, it doesn't take long to find somebody touched by asbestos.
Well, I first started putting on asbestos in the late 50s, early 60s.
Cesar Ramirez installed many types of asbestos on everything from piping to boiler systems.
Amosite, crocodiolite, what was the other one? Actinolite.
Now 66, Ramirez has a wall full of training certificates.
You guys ready with that?
He teaches young construction workers the do's and don'ts to make sure history doesn't repeat itself.
Your hands were very rough. They would cut up pretty easily because it sucked up all the liquid in your hands. Generally, it really bothered your eyes. Then, of course, we had no protection of any kind. We just said, well, that's the way we got to work with it.
In 2002, Ramirez got the news from his doctor he had dreaded. He has asbestosis, the scarring of the lungs, scarring caused by airborne asbestos fibers. Breathing starts getting more difficult with time until one day breathing stops.
Very scary after seeing the way my father-in-law died with it, because my father-in-law was in the trade.
It ain't going to bother me. When it does, I'll deal with it. And when it does happen is when the scary part kicks in.
Tom Gutierrez heads up the Asbestos Workers Union local for Southern California, a local that he says loses one member each month from asbestos-related diseases. What he sees, he doesn't like.
I would be reduced down to 90 pounds, and it's almost nothing. Then you're on a lung. You almost want to pray to God that you do die, because you're grasping for breath that isn't even there. Your lungs are so scarred that you can't breathe anymore, and that you can't even brush your teeth because you're so tired that you're going to collapse.
But if you need the work, especially when you're just starting out, you'll take whatever job you can find, right? Well, the key is to not be afraid to ask questions about asbestos on the job and demand answers.
The worker has two options. One, he or she can quit, or call OSHA and let them know why they had to quit or why they got terminated.
They do have a right to contact us if they do have a concern about being exposed to asbestos. For instance, construction work, if they're going to be doing renovation type work, if they're going to be doing demolition type work, they should look out for what we would call presumed asbestos containing materials that are, part of the structure.
That would be the old tile, insulation, popcorn ceilings, etc. Things that are common in remodels of older buildings and condo conversions.
Not only is it for the benefit of your workers and the public, but it's against the law, because if these contractors come in and they don't do it right and they start to pull out asbestos containing material without complying with the law, without taking the proper protections, that's a civil or a criminal matter.
Let's say the contractor does the asbestos survey and asbestos is on site. Gutierrez shows us what you, the general construction worker, should see just on a smaller scale.
They must sign in at this entrance level here. The reason why they have to sign in is to make sure when this thing is all done, they want to make sure all the workers come out. Because this is a small little scale. On a larger scale, you could be, you want to make sure you have all your workers out. That worker will enter this thing with regular street clothes, and then again change in here and put on this suit. Then he'll go through the shower room, into the equipment room, pick up his equipment, and then go into the work area right here. Once he enters this work area here, this is where he'll start removing the asbestos or the hazardous materials. This negative air machine is always on. It must be on 24 hours a day, okay, so that any fiber release at all is going to go in here.
Sounds like a lot of fuss, but remember, asbestos is a hazardous material. At your construction site, you have the right to know if you're working on something containing asbestos or if a worker close by is doing asbestos removal. Think about safeguards, chambers, negative air, protective clothing, respirator. A simple dust mask does nothing.
No one called it asbestos.
Tom shows me a video on asbestos workers in Montana, workers who didn't know the dangers 40 years ago and pay the price today.
More laws are stronger on this thing to protect the worker as long as everybody complies. If everybody plays by the same rules, we're going to be fine. If we don't, then we're going to have an epidemic in another 10 more years.
Anything has to do with respiratory protection, make sure you take care of your lungs, because you don't have a second chance. especially with asbestos. I mean, you got it, you got it.
Homeowners and renters, contractors and construction workers all need to be careful with asbestos. It can kill you. And if you smoke, it becomes even more deadly, way more. Remember, asbestos is a hazardous material. That means there are rules for working around it and for throwing it away. You can't just put it out on the street on trash day. Undisturbed, it's fine. But if you think you may have it in your home or job site, have it tested by a licensed asbestos expert before you start work. For more information, just visit our website at sdasbestos.org or call the county's Air Pollution Control District at 858-586-2707. Best advice? Check before you wreck. I'm Michael Russo. Thank you for watching.